60 minutes, we play Iowa State football together.
Everybody, and welcome back into the Iowa State fan perspective here at Play the Fight Song College Football Show. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Jake, as always, joined by my co-host each and every single week, my brother Justin. Happy victory. I guess this is Thursday. Usually we come out to you guys on our Mondays to preview the next week, but enjoy yourselves. Enjoy some basketball this week. The Cyclones are going to take some time off as we await for a bowl game to be announced. So if you're tuning into the show for the first time, subscribe to the channel, like the video. We cover Cyclone football all year round, as well as all things college football here at Play the Fight Song all year round. Little outline for the show tonight. We're going to recap the Oklahoma State game. I know that was kind of a ways ago, but we're going to touch on it. We're going to touch on National Signing Day stuff, look into bowl game projections, which is kind of the headline of the show. We'll find out who Iowa State is playing next week. And we'll touch on maybe some Big 12 coaching carousel stuff, championship. We'll see where this goes. I got to jump on from this show to the next show here in a minute. So we'll try and keep this one shorter for you guys. Anyways, Justin, what's up? We haven't really talked since I saw you at Thanksgiving a few days ago. How we doing?
Doing good. I mean, wasn't a whole lot to break down from the game on Saturday. And while we were watching, what you'd say what you think about Saturday's game. I mean, we didn't have a whole lot to say. That was probably the least amount that we've texted each other during a game and talked about a game afterwards all season. And I know it's the last game of the year, so there's not like another one to look forward to besides the bowl game. But I just like, they went in, they took care of business, they got out of there.
Yeah, no, there really wasn't a ton to say like during the game. It was just kind of like, all right, just win the game, just win the game, just win the game. Okay, we muffed a punt. Okay, really? We really got to do this? We're really going to make it hard on ourselves. No, I mean, quick takeaways from the win on Saturday. Iowa State gets it done in Stillwater, 20-13. Honestly, like Justin, you mentioned it, get out of Dodge situation. Just get the hell out of there with a win. Nobody's going to remember this one in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years when we're all sitting down and being like, you remember the 2025 season, how we won our 8th win against Oklahoma State? Like, nobody remembers the record, but
scrappy team.
Yeah, right. I'll be like, hey, name the quarterback for Oklahoma State on that 1-11 team. That'll be my trivia question in a decade from now. It was just like, you got the win and you got to that 8th win. You ended the regular season on 3 straight wins. You ended Big 12 play above 500 for what now, the 8th or 9th time in Matt Campbell's career. So the win itself wasn't pretty, but the milestones along the way kind of made everything bittersweet for getting the job done on Saturday.
Can you hear me? My internet cut out in the middle of your spiel there. So I missed a little bit of it, but yeah, I mean, it was a good way to end the season. I mean, not necessarily the quality of gameplay that you wanted to see, but it didn't really surprise me. I mean, I wasn't really expecting them to go in there and put. You were
the one on the closer game mark. I had 31-3. Nice read there, Jake.
It's just, I mean, the Kansas game we got up to 38, but I feel like Kansas kind of gave that one to us a little bit. This team just, I mean, it never really hit the top gear that we wanted it to at the beginning of the season. I mean, something went awry there in the middle of the year with the injuries and with confidence and just not, I don't know. It just, this season went by in the blink of an eye, but it still has me feeling like something was missing here, where just, it didn't really feel like it was clicking. And for an Iowa State season to come away thinking that, and to see them go 8-4 and finish in the top half of the Big 12, I still think is a major success. And that's kind of how I'm going to try to remember this team. And I think this team's going to be more defined by how next year goes, especially with a lot of the players that they're bringing back.
Yeah. I mean, we will have plenty of episodes this offseason to touch on, and it'll kind of go into like our signing day stuff a little bit. But Campbell mentioned in his press conference post game, I think he said this number right. I think he said Iowa State has a chance to have 33 seniors on the roster next year.
Yeah.
33. That's insane. It's a little scary to think life after next year, but we're not going to worry about that right now.
Senior doesn't really like mean just a 4th year. I mean, it means a lot of different things nowadays in college football. So,
which is like your Caleb Bacon situation. Like, he's a senior technically coming back, but we'll stay on the game. Other than that, quickly. Yes, it was ugly. We know, but we got to highlight some of the good things that come along with a win. Another 100-yard rusher out of Carson Hansen. That is what? I think 5 in a row. I think I saw that stat was.
Since he came back from injury.
Poetic, Justin. We highlighted that senior day against Kansas was really cool to see the offensive line get their love on senior day with the senior heavy led group. And then the last regular season again was led by that heavy offensive line, senior led group who just pushed over Oklahoma State. I'll say it time and time again, guys. Like even in the Matt Campbell era, we've played bad rush defenses and we've still gotten bullied on the line of scrimmage. And that has not been this group the entire season. Anybody that Iowa State is statistically superior than, whoa, tough words there. They've went out and dominated the whole way, and they've shown it. They rushed for 4.8 yards per carry. Abu had a couple of good runs. Abu had still had 87 yards. Like he had a nice day as well. So the run game showed up on Saturday, and that was enough. And a couple of turnovers by the defense. That was enough.
Yeah, seeing both of the running backs finish this season, averaging over 5 yards a carry, I think is a big success for this football team. And I think it's a big credit to the O-line, which we've touched on here in the last couple podcasts now, that I think we're going to miss a lot of those guys. It was good to see them go out and have another dominant performance. Like you said, it'll be really interesting to see what the running back room is going to look like next year. I assume Sama and Hansen both are going to return, I hope.
Yep.
And then
fingers crossed,
we'll
right?
See what kind of depth that we got coming in behind them. But if you would have told me before the year that Sama was going to have over 700 yards and Carson Hansen was going to have over 950 yards on the year, like I would have thought we would have had one of the best offenses in the country, to be honest with you. So just looking at that group on their own, like it was a big success for those guys. A little bit of a different story when it comes to the passing game. I mean, we've only had 2 guys get over 500 yards this year, and 2 of those guys barely got over 500 yards. The tight ends only combined for 740 yards on the season, about 800 yards. I think that was kind of one of the biggest dropbacks, at least from our preseason prediction. And I felt like that's an area to grow that I expect to get better over the offseason, and something that could be a strong suit again next year is what we think. But it just never really clicked this year. And I think not yesterday. I just always think yesterday when we're talking about the game. I'm putting myself back in that headspace. But I think Saturday was kind of an encapsulation of that. That was Rocco finished with 8 completions on the day. I mean, it's his second or third game of the year where he'd under 10 completions. If you would have told me that like
drops
before
again
the year, I would have called you crazy.
Yeah. The caveat I would say to that though is, while it was shortened in the stat category, Chase Sewell had a touchdown catch, 4 catches, 50 yards, led the team in receiving. That's not a ton, I know, and they barely crossed the 500-yard mark. But I tweeted this out Saturday or Sunday that you can tell there's a trust between Chase and Rocco down the stretch this last month of November, and that can carry into potentially a huge 2026 season. Like we've seen, like he got the Jaden Higgins comps. I don't know if that's necessarily fair. I don't know if he could be another Jaden Higgins. I think Chase has got a bunch of little things he needs to clean up. He's got to catch the ball more. Can't have those drops. And he's just got to be more certain. I guess he's got to be more trusted on some of those easy throws for Rocco. But the trust is there. And Brett and Chase started and played damn near all the snaps at the 2 main wide receiver spots towards the end of November. And pay attention to the bowl game. And I'm sure they're going to play a big part in that. But that's something to take note of, that those 2, I think now are clear, will be our top 2 receivers going into next year, which is good. That was kind of what we needed this year. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't pretty. But that, guys, it takes time. Jaden Higgins wasn't great his junior year, came down the stretch at the end. But now we have something to build on for potentially a big senior season for Rocco, Chase, and then I know Brett's young, but still.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the bowl game for that, because, I mean, last year's bowl game, we were out so many key guys in that game where the game was kind of like a take it or leave it type situation. Winning it wasn't really the end of the world, but those guys still stepped up and played a really good game, and it gave us a lot of confidence coming into this year. I mean, this year's bowl game, we're going to have pretty much everybody playing, I would assume. This is like the healthiest the team's been all year. Yeah,
that'd be my only guess, because some people have him going first 2 rounds, but who knows?
Yeah, that's true. I would assume he probably won't, because
But I I will not to cut you off, sorry, but I also want to see what this defensive line looks like without Dom. So I would love to see 9-5 take the field one more time, but I'm also really curious to see what that could look like for next year because it's going to be a huge factor.
Yeah, I'm a little worried of what that's going to look like. Honestly, I think that's a very big deal. But just like you said, with that trust factor with so well in the passing game, like you give these guys 3-4 weeks to prepare for a bowl game. Who knows what kind of jump they could take going into that one?
Yep. And that's why the bowl games, people say the bowl games don't matter. They matter in different ways now, guys. Like playing an extra game, getting that practice time, that stuff still all matters. It's not necessarily the game in itself, but the factors that lead up to it and the more, reps that they get during this December time could be huge leading into 2026. So I think it does matter. Justin, you want to know what I disgustingly did last night?
What's that?
I rewatched the Pop-Tarts Bowl last year.
There's nothing disgusting about that.
That's not sicko. That's not sicko.
That was a great game. There was like 80 points scored in that
It
game.
I forgot how fun that game was and just some of the storylines in it. And obviously Ward played the first half and then some of the way the second half was completely different play style wise than the first half. And just like, I don't know. We'll maybe save that for another time, but that was awesome. Getting that win. Like I get it. Like Cam Ward didn't play in the second half, but that win still sealed 11 wins. Like I think basically I'm trying to say getting that 9th win for whoever we play, it'll be awesome. Like it'll be fun to go back and watch. I don't care who plays, who doesn't play. Like I just will enjoy watching that football game and hopefully celebrating one more win.
Yeah, I mean it's great for program building too, especially at somewhere like Iowa State. Like you just don't take bowl games for granted here. Some teams do. Some teams have the luxury of that, but just like other teams have the luxury of taking an 8-4 season for granted. This is like so Iowa State went 5-4 in conference play and finished above 500. That's only the 8th. That's the 8th time Matt Campbell's done that. It's only been done like 15 times ever.
Yeah.
When I went back and looked at it, that's what I thought I counted, but maybe I counted that wrong. Josh Pate even said that stat.
Right. Yeah.
Josh Pate even said that stat on his show this week where he said it only happened like 2 times ever before that, but I don't think that was right either.
Cyclone fan Josh Pate who's trying to get the Penn State job to Matt Campbell.
Yeah, I guess we'll save that for the end of the show today. Different topic. But yeah, you just don't take those little things for granted, and that's what makes college football fun, is taking the bowl game seriously, going 8-4 and enjoying the year. I mean, there's only one team every year that's going to win it all. So really, what's the difference between Iowa State going 8-4 and a lot of these other teams? I mean, I think people just need to kind of readjust their expectations of the season for sure.
That's another conversation for another time, but that's a good way to kind of put a bow on the regular season and put a bow on that ugly win in Stillwater. Quickly, before we get into that, bad advertising on us, but our show is always partnered by our friends at shopnorivals.com, the best hats in collegiate sports. If you're still following us this week, if you're paying attention to the whole episode, we'll still do the giveaway. If you guys give us a score prediction for the Big 12 championship this week, because they have Texas Tech, they have BYU, we're going to do it here. Give us a score prediction for the Big 12 championship this week. If you go 2 for 2, you get the winner right and the score right. If you're subscribed here, we'll get you guys a hat right before the holidays for our friends at shopnorivals.com. Use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping. Get your relatives a hat before Christmas. All right, Justin, I will go through this really quickly. It is signing day here as we record on a Wednesday night. Some of the key things to highlight from this class, what to expect, because I'm not totally familiar and informed on this class much, but just taking away some of the stuff Campbell said in his press conference today. 22 signees, 8 from the state of Nebraska, 1 from the state of Iowa, 1 from the city of Ames. We'll get to him in just a minute. This is the highest rated recruiting class according to 247 in the Matt Campbell era. This morning, it was sitting about like 46, 47, 48. Now it's kind of finishing it at 50th, which would be tied with the 2023 class, but nonetheless, still a solid class full of guys who I think Campbell's really high on. A couple of them to follow that Campbell made comments on. Defensive end, Elijah Reeder. I think I got that right, out of Bayville, New Jersey. This guy's story is fascinating. So he, Justin, had his best offer was from FCS New Haven out east. Up until 2 days ago, he took a visit to Ames on the 1st, and he took the offer and accepted it right away. Campbell's comments on him was sometimes Iowa State has to wait to do things with recruits because if they discover them too early, they sometimes let the world know and they follow. Very appropriate comments as this class saw Milan Paris and Jet Tamala both head out to bigger schools for bigger paychecks. I'm not saying this guy's the next Will McDonald, but they saw something with him that they want to take a flyer on. And hopefully maybe this was a diamond in the rough that Iowa State picked up because they seem pretty excited about it.
Can we just touch on a couple of the things you just said there? I mean, first of all, Campbell's statement there is like one of the harder statements I've heard by a college football coach in a while.
But it's true.
Sometimes Iowa State has to wait to do things with their because if they discover too early, they sometimes let the world know and they follow. And that's Iowa State. They're tied for 50th as their best recruiting class ever. And we're talking about how they've had a winning record in the Big 12 8 times in 10 years. There's only like 130 teams. We're barely above half.
Yeah.
You like look at some like these teams and like some of these teams are like the 20th recruiting class and like the SEC or something like that. And they're crapped on and they're like, there's no way they can win a national championship because they don't have a top 5 recruiting class. Iowa State's putting together like solid seasons and with some of these recruiting classes and the way they have to go about it. I mean, I keep spilling all over myself here with the Matt Campbell stuff and the coaching, but it just blows my mind every time.
I encourage everyone to go look at the 2024 class, who was ranked 71st in the country. Marcus Neal was one of those guys, but go look at that class. That class could end up being a really good class for Iowa State down the road. A couple others, wide receiver Jeffrey Roberts, the kid from Ames. Again, just to get a kid from Ames was huge. Campbell gave him some high praise and even gave him a Jalen Noel comp. So we'll see I don't think he would just say that for no reason. And the last one will be the quarterback of the class, Case Evans from Lexington, Texas. Had some decent offers. Oklahoma State was one. A lot of other G5 offers for him. A 3-star, but Campbell said he was one of the best steals of the class. Guys, again, this guy could end up being nothing, but remember Little Rocco Becht was also a fringe 3-star that went under the radar, and they took a flyer on him when he got the chance after Hunter Deckers left, and now Rocco is Rocco for a reason. I know we have really good quarterbacks in the waiting right now with Mansky and Moberly, but again, I don't think Matt Campbell would say these things if he didn't mean it. Just my food for thought. So that was just some of the things to take away. Just getting to signing day, getting these recruits in the midst of all the coaching carousel stuff, big win for Iowa State today. That's really all I got to say about that. Any other thoughts on that, Justin?
No, it was a big win down the stretch. Had a lot of signees. I feel like a bulk of their signees came in kind of the last week or two.
That Kansas game, yep. Huge.
Right after that last Kansas home game. So that was big. Really brought the class together and have some optimism. It's kind of hard to take a lot out of these classes with how much movement there is in players in college football nowadays, but definitely doesn't hurt to be positive and have a lot of good feelings on signing day and see where it goes from there.
Iowa stole a lot of the Iowa recruits this year. I just kind of want to make a note of this. Like Iowa State got 8 recruits from the state of Nebraska. Something to maybe we check back on in 3 years and see how it plays out. I have no idea.
Iowa State's done really well in the state of Iowa the last couple of years.
That's true. No, I 100% agree. It was just kind of interesting to look at how they did that dynamic. So that is your 2025 class. Let's get to bowl game projections, Justin, as we'll know on Monday. I listen to Cycle Fanatic all the time. I think Chris and Brent doing a really awesome job. Like, I think you should listen to all your cycling podcasts, and they usually have a good read on it. And they're very certain. Like they said, 75% they think it's going to be the Rate Bowl in Arizona. But everything I see online, Justin, that is not the case. I haven't seen one projection that lists Iowa State in the Rate Bowl. CBS has Iowa State in the Texas Bowl versus Missouri. I think that would be fun. USA Today also has Iowa State in the Texas Bowl versus San Diego State. Would love to see. That's a good G5 team. I'd love to play them. ESPN, they're 2 guys who write bowl projections. One was Tulane in the Texas Bowl. One was the Liberty Bowl versus Memphis. We've kind of touched on that before.
Ooh, Liberty Bowl.
Yeah, it's not the Liberty Bowl, but I don't want to play Memphis.
I don't want to boo a bowl game, but we've been there twice now.
I just don't want to play Memphis is my bigger thing. But anyways, and then Sports Illustrated had the Texas Bowl again versus Cal. Tulane, and Memphis, Justin, those opponents all would not have their head coach. All of their coaches have either been fired or have taken other jobs. There's no shot John Summerall is coaching Tulane in the Texas Bowl. He will coach them in the playoff, but he will not be coaching the Texas Bowl. I can guarantee you that. So what like for me, I think Missouri would have the most opt-outs, but I think playing Missouri in the Texas Bowl would be my choice out of these. I don't know if you've had any thoughts, or do you want to play anywhere else? Like what are your thoughts on where Iowa State could be put in their bowl game?
I saw a projection. I don't remember where it was. I saw a projection for the Rate Bowl against, I think it was Illinois, which
That would
I
be
think
good.
that
That'd be
would
fun.
be. I think that would be a really good game because I think kind of coming into the year, those teams
Similar
are very,
to Iowa State.
very comparable. And just going up against a Big Ten team would be a lot of fun. But Missouri would be great too. I mean, when was the last time we played Missouri? Maybe
Do we get to play for 2 trophies?
I was gonna say, do we break out the telephone for that? I don't know where
You
that's
have
at
to,
right now.
right?
I would assume it's in Missouri. I don't know the last time it resided in Ames, probably when I was an infant.
McCarney's last year, if I could remember correctly.
Yeah, that would have put me at like 5 or 6.
Had to age you there a bit.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. That would give something to play up for and advertise. And that's a good Missouri team. Really good defense, kind of struggling offense right now, but that's a really solid defense that I think would be a really good test for our offense.
Yep.
And I think we would match up kind of well against that, where I think if we're going to go into a game without Dom Orange, I don't know if I want to go up against a high-flying offense in a bowl game.
That would be a great – well, granted, again, with Missouri, it's like who's going to play? Like if you get San Diego State, I think that'd be fun. They got a really good defense. It's probably the best G5 defense out there. And I'm assuming their guys are going to play. Like they had 3 wins a year ago. Sean Lewis is a really good coach. I do want to see, though, like what would Iowa State look like against an SEC defense? Like Missouri's defense is still top 6 in the league. Now, will they have like guys like Zion Young and the other guy from Georgia that I'm blanking on? I don't know, but I would love to see them all play, and I think it would be it'd still be a good test. And I guarantee Ahmad Hardy, running back for Missouri, will still play for him because I don't think he can go pro. And I don't envision him transferring. And if you guys don't know who that is, the guy is a stud running back, transferred from Louisiana Monroe. So I would like to see San Diego State or Missouri. Personally, I think Cal would be an absolute dumpster fire. I bet they're all going to hit the portal because Wilcox transferred. I love Jaron Kiave, Sakapuatele, their freshman quarterback. A lot of people have him hitting the portal. So, and then Tulane, same thing. Like those guys aren't going to play. Like if they miss the playoff, they're all getting out of town after Summerall leaves too. So you want to see a team that at least fields a lot of people. But I hadn't seen that Illinois projection. I think Illinois would be fun.
Because I think if they played in the Rate Bowl, it would be a Big Ten team.
I think I've seen Northwestern too in some of the Rate Bowl stuff, which again, similar to Iowa State. Like David Brown, like they don't have a ton of pro players, but they're a really good team and they're going to give you your best effort. I think they won 8 games in the Big Ten. So I'd love to see Iowa State play one of those 2 teams either. For people who don't know at home, the Texas Bowl is Saturday night, December 27th at 9:15. It is the last bowl game on that Saturday night. I mean, that's fine. I don't really care. Like whatever. I know some people maybe like, I'm going to bed, but if you're a diehard, you're sitting up and watching that game. Like I'm sure a lot of Cyclone fans will. Liberty Bowl. The reason why I'm not opposed to the Liberty Bowl, again, don't want to play Memphis. It's January 2nd. So it's after New Year's Day, after some of the playoff games. You know, a lot of people have off work. I think it's like an early game on that Friday. I think it'd be fun. I think that would be fun to watch. I think if we played somebody other than Memphis, I'd be okay with that. The Rate Bowl, I believe, is Friday night, the 26th I think that's a late kick too, if I recall correctly. So either way, you're kind of looking at a late kick or after New Year's Day. So I don't really, we're not going to the game either way. So we're just sit at home and watch it on TV. So I don't really prefer one over the other.
But Cyclone fans usually travel pretty well for the bowl.
Correct.
Games. So getting something in like an Arizona would be, because where is the Texas Bowl played?
Houston at the Texans Stadium. And that one, you're supposed to play an SEC team. It's supposed to be Big 12 SEC, but at this point, Like, if you're not getting Missouri, you're not. I texted this in the group chat the other night. I'd love to play LSU so bad. I want to play that stupid team. I hate watching them, and I think they're just a bad football team. Good
Who's
defense.
coaching that
still.
team?
Their interim, who I can't even think of at the moment. So, yeah, I think that would be kind of fun. Kiffin will probably be on the sidelines. I'd love to play LSU. I don't see that happening, but I'd love to see that. Any other thoughts on bowl games? I mean, as soon as we get it, we're gonna deep dive into the team we're playing. But that's kind of
I haven't looked in it too much. Just because I've been waiting until they announce it, just to really get into it, because these things change so much, and
it's crazy.
College championship games change them a lot. So haven't really gotten too invested into it yet, but I wouldn't mind a late kick, because when I was watching, I stayed up and watched the Cal SMU game this weekend, because I had invested in SMU's under on the season.
Good win.
Which cashed at 11 o'clock, which felt pretty good. Which at the end of that game, I was starting to get pretty sad. I was like, oh man, this is the last late kick of the season. I was like, where did the season go?
No, so we have some more.
I could use a couple late night bowl games, things like that.
I'm with you on that. All right, let's go to the last segment of the night. We're kind of rolling through this quickly, but I appreciate you guys tuning in so far. Again, Big 12 championship stuff and coaching carousel news. Comment your score prediction for the BYU Texas Tech game below. Remember to like the video. First, Justin, quick thoughts, because it happened today and it was so fast, and it's kind of, I don't know if earth shattering is the way to describe it, but man, Klieman retiring out of nowhere, and Colin Klein's stepping in. They haven't made that official, but it seems like everybody's figured it out. Just crazy stuff. It's been such a weird year for K-State, and some of the post-game press conference stuff with Klieman, where he's been overly emotional. He's been doing this for like 2 years now, where he's been overly emotional in a couple of press conferences. But as a rival of Iowa State, you kind of laugh a little bit, but also there's a respect factor, at least for me, out of Chris Klieman. I think he's a really good coach, and it's kind of a disappointing way that if I was a Kansas State fan, it's a tough way to see them end his era at Kansas State. I thought he did a really good job stepping up for Bill Snyder in the midst of all of it, won a Big 12 title, but the way it ended the last 2 years, especially, tough way to go out. Any other thoughts on Klieman stepping down and retiring?
I was really surprised to see this news, especially after his last emotional press conference that he had out in Utah. I don't understand it. And it makes me feel like he was almost forced out. That was my first impression.
A little bit. A lot of K-State fans thought he wasn't the guy anymore. Like, that was real.
It didn't strike me as something that he, and maybe I'm wrong, it didn't really strike me as something that he would have made this decision to do, unless they really wanted to jump and get Colin Klein now before he took a job elsewhere.
Correct.
If they were worried about that. But I thought he's like you said, he's done a really good job at Kansas State. I don't think Kansas State is like a top tier program like an Oklahoma or an Oklahoma State even was in the Big 12, where they were expected to make a run at the Big 12 championship every year. Like, obviously they wanted to do that, and it's not like they had really bad years. Obviously it kind of fell off the tracks this year, but they've been right there in the last couple of years. They won that Iowa State game last year. They finished like third in the Big 12 or something like that. They've been right there. So for them to make this change right now, that was first thing that came to my mind. Is it felt like they were almost forcing him out, and maybe that had more to do with them wanting to get Colin Klein, because his name was coming up in a lot of these other job rumors, especially with all the openings that are happening now.
Couldn't have happened at a better time. Like, K-State fans lucked into this. Like, honestly, I don't know if this had been in the works for a week or if it had been in the works for a month. I know a lot of K-State fans have been pushing this on Twitter and stuff, and you're like, how far will that take you? But they quite literally bullied Klieman into retiring, and they got their prodigal son. Like, they got him to come home.
Like,
just wild.
Which I would be over the moon if I was them too, getting Colin Klein. But almost, it's the way that it happened and the way they got there, it just makes me feel like they should caution themselves a little bit.
I think so too. Be careful what you wish for, kind of thing. Like, the guy still, I don't know if his record off the top of my head. I thought it was like 48-24. Like, gosh, that's really, really good. I know Bill Snyder was generational, but again, K-State football was as low as it could have been before Bill Snyder, and He retired once. It went terribly. He comes back, and then Kleiman steps in for him and didn't really miss a beat. So didn't have any other comments. He just had an opening statement in his press conference tonight, which was weird. Sounds like he's going to coach in the bowl game. So hopefully we get some more comments out of him on really what led to all of this. But that was some other news. Other coaching carousel news, and a lead into our last segment of the night. Kalani Sitake, shout out Crumble Cookie, keeping the big man in Provo. I think it's good for the Big 12. You need coaches like this to stay in the league. You need money in the league. BYU fans have been awesome for us all year, paying attention to our stuff. So we appreciate you guys. Happy for you guys. Any thoughts on that, Justin, or let's get right into it? Like what's your Big 12 championship prediction?
Them keeping Sitake around was huge for the Big 12 and huge for that program, and just kind of shows like Texas Tech did it last year and showed how serious they were about their spending. And then BYU goes out and has another great year, and kind of now they see themselves on par with Texas Tech, and we'll see what happens on Saturday. They might be right in thinking that they're right there at the top of the Big 12. This might not be the last time we see this matchup in the Big 12 championship. As far as how these two teams are spending, I don't know if people are really getting their minds wrapped around that. I don't think if we added up how much all the other teams combined were spending that it would equal what these two teams have the capacity to even do. Like they're on another level right now. So shout out to them for being competitive in the national stage. And I hope BYU pulls it off this Saturday. I'd like to see two teams get into the get into the college football playoff, but there's a reason they're as big of an underdog as they are. I have a hard time seeing BYU pulling off the outright upset just with how good Texas Tech's D-line is. They're one of the top 5 teams in the country. Like they truly are. And BYU's, in my mind, a top 15 team in the country for sure. Some people think they're a little overrated, but I don't really see it like that. But I think Bear Bachmeier is going to play a lot better this Saturday. True freshman on the road. That was a really tough environment for him the first time they played Texas Tech. I expect them to have a lot better game plan and for him to be more prepared. But I just that Texas Tech D-line is one of the best D-lines in the country, and at college football, that's a real separator. So I'd still pick Texas Tech to win it, but I would expect BYU to cover that 12.
You mentioned it with the money. Like this could be the new Big 12s, like Texas, Oklahoma, like with the money that Tech and BYU are spending. Like that's what it could end up being, which could be bad for everybody else.
That's how big the gap is, though. Like
it is.
I don't think people have really wrapped their minds around that yet. Or because it's like because of who the brands are.
I completely agree. And you know, you don't want to see these two teams just dominate the league year in and year out, but also you need your version of Georgia representing your conference in the college football playoff. You need it for a respectability factor when these two teams, hopefully, Tech will get in probably, and then we'll see what BYU can do if they pull off this upset. Interesting to note, as far as the game's concerned, BYU has forced a turnover in every single Big 12 game this year, except for their trip in Lubbock. So my key to the game, one's not even going to get it done. You got to force at least 2 turnovers on Saturday if you're BYU, and you got to flip the field with special teams if you expect to pull off this upset. So that's all I really got for this one. I'm interested to watch it.
Do you expect them, if you had to bet it, do you think they'd cover?
Oof. No. No, I don't. I think Tech's that good. I think
everyone's kind of writing, and I know Texas Tech didn't play their best the first time they played, but I think everyone's kind of writing off BYU. And I mean, this is kind of what they do. There's a really good team. I feel like they're going to have a better game plan and be able to adapt. It's hard to beat a team more than once in college football.
That's also very true. Also true. Very well coached, tough-nosed team that plays all 60 minutes. Like they're not going to go away. But at the same time, I like Texas Tech. How many 20-point wins they have in the Big 12 this year? I mean, and I thought they left a lot of points on the board or off the board when they played the first time. So that's kind of where I'm at. But you get after Morton, and maybe he gets banged up, and you saw how that offense responded against Arizona State when they were banged up. So we'll see there. All right, Justin, good stuff. 35 minutes. It's 7:21, and I got to hop on a live show here at 7:30. Tune in to our live show at Play the Fight Song. It'll be, I guess, recorded at this point when you listen to this, but go back. We're covering conference championships this week. Super excited for it. Bowl season is almost upon us. We will be back here very soon covering the Cyclones bowl game and any other Cyclone football news. My name is Jake. That's my brother, Justin. We appreciate you guys tuning in this week. Have a great rest of your week. And as always, how we set it out each and every single week, go Cyclones.